Welcome to the Knoy Church Podcast. We're glad that you're interested in connecting through this teaching time. If you'd like to connect further, feel free to reach out to us through our website, knoychurch.org. For now, enjoy this teaching from Knoy Church, where our mission is to lead people into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ.
So today, we are starting a new series, and I'll say more on that in a moment, but we're actually going to start the sermon with a clip from the series, The Chosen. And so what I want to do is just really quick intro that clip, because I know not everybody has seen The Chosen or is familiar with The Chosen, though if you have come here for our Pizza and Chosen, which we'll have to do our next one very soon, then you have already seen this episode, so I'm not spoiling anything for you. This is from season 2, and it's, again, just a clip. But what you will see in this particular clip is a bunch of disciples sitting around and talking, and they're going to be ganging up on one. The one they're yelling at is Matthew, who was a tax collector. Okay, so you need to know that. There's a woman sitting there who's in red, and she is going to get up to attend to Jesus. Once you see Jesus in the clip, that's Jesus' mother, and I think you probably should just know who that is as well. So other than those two things, I think everything else will be pretty self-explanatory, and then I'll talk a bit more about the clip after we play it. So we've not tried to play a clip this way, so this will be kind of a new one for us, so we're going to do our best and see how it comes through, but let's give it a shot and see. Okay, so to make sure that I was good to go. I know that clip was kind of dark, so it's hard to see. Jesus was away out of the scene most of the time, and what he was doing was he was healing people. People had lined up, had come from miles and miles away to be healed. And so while the disciples were gathered and talking, Jesus was off healing. And then he came back, completely exhausted, totally wiped out. He didn't even have the energy to engage the disciples. He just wanted to get to bed, right? I mean, you could, even though it was dark, you could see that, right? And his mother went over and washed his feet and cleaned him up so that he could get to bed. That clip is one of my favorite clips from The Chosen because I think it's a good illustration of the church. I think it's a good illustration of Jesus and his disciples, but of the church. Because you get this clip of the disciples arguing. Right? You heard it, you saw it. And they're arguing about the pain of being Jewish, the pain that goes along with that. I think that's a very real thing. I think that would have been a very realistic conversation they probably had. And here's Matthew, who was a tax collector, who had sort of capitulated to the Romans. He worked for them. He was wealthy. He had taken in a lot of money. How hard was life for him, right? They don't know. He probably fought with himself, and Matthew probably lost touch with his family because of his choices. So he had his own pain in that, and they don't know that sort of pain, but Matthew doesn't know their pain either, and it creates tension, it creates arguments, conflict within the group. And where's Jesus the whole time? Giving every ounce of his self, of his energy, every bit of who he is to every single person who's blind, lame, afflicted, who's lined up, come from who knows where, who needs healed. While they argue, Jesus is doing work. And I feel like that can be a good picture of us. We can get so sidetracked on what matters. I think the other thing that can happen is and I don't mean in any way, shape, or form to downplay the chosen, is that's a very real picture for us of who Jesus was. That Jesus gave of himself until the guy would collapse. And then we grow up and live in a church world where we have to be like Jesus. That's what we're told. In every way, shape, and form, we should be like Jesus. And many of us have come from this area, good old blue-collar Lancaster County, where we work hard. We've inherited that. And so that sort of works its way into our understanding of who Jesus is too. Got to be like Jesus. Give it my all until I can barely walk to what really matters. Don't get caught up in all the arguments. Don't get caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter. Focus on what does and give it my all. Right? I've been a part of ministries where that is the goal. You give till you drop. Right? I don't know if you've been a part of that. And I want to ask a question that we don't normally ask, but here it is. Are you tired? It's funny that Christine had on her heart this morning some of what was on her heart when she opened up the service, because we didn't talk, believe it or not, and she had no idea what I was going to preach on, but that's just how God works when she talked about cups and overflowing. Are you tired? Not just physically tired, but maybe that too. I mean soul tired. Is your soul tired? Tired from being on all the time, tired from pretending to be okay, tired from all the things that you've said yes to. Maybe you said yes because you didn't want to disappoint somebody because you said no. And maybe the hardest part's this: you're tired from serving, even with good intentions. And sometimes you end up wondering, why is it so hard to just keep going? Today, I want to talk about something that we don't often call spiritual, but it is spiritual. It's self-care. We're starting this new series, Faithful Wholeness, because God doesn't just care about your salvation. He cares about your soul. He cares about your mind. He cares about your body. He cares about your peace. He does. Man, God cares about your salvation. I want you to know that. But he cares about you. He cares about how you live. He cares about how you exist in this world. Absolutely. God wants good things for you. And I don't mean that in a prosperity gospel sense. I mean that in a God didn't create you so that you could hate your life. That's not why. God cares about your soul. He cares about your body. He cares about your mind. And he cares about your peace. Now, here's the interesting thing. I know that a lot of people are tired, but I also know that it's not all from serving. Okay? We don't have a lot of places to serve in our church. That's the honest truth. You can be a greeter. You can hand out bulletins. You can help out with the coffee bar. You can do the kids' devotional. You can volunteer in the nursery. You can go downstairs to help out with the kids. You could do the sound, help out with projection. You could join the worship team. You could help out with love feasts, set up tables, tear down tables. But there's not a lot of places that you could volunteer. I just named pretty much all of them. All right? And here's what I also know. It's usually the same, like 20% of the people that do all the volunteer positions. And yet, when we sit down and we talk to each other, we sit at a table and we talk to each other. We go to Love Feast and we talk to each other. Here's what we find out. We're all still tired. We're all still wiped out. The world claims parts of us. It does. The world claims parts of us. Our jobs claim parts of our lives. Providing for our family or ourselves so that we can eat, we can pay our bills, that claims parts of us. That makes us tired. Our families claim pieces of us. Relationships claim pieces of us. Our neighbors claim pieces of us. Maintaining those relationships, caring for those relationships, valuing those relationships, that all claims a piece of us. Caring for where we live claims a piece of us. Organizing, cleaning, picking up, mowing the yard, putting things away, vacuuming things, right? Doing the laundry, making sure that you take a shower. That all claims a piece of us, right? That's some of it. The news claims a piece of us, right? What's the next natural disaster it's going to be? Does it claim any lives? What's the next political disaster going to be? What side should we take? What side does our friends and our family take? If I take a different one, are people going to hate me? Are they not going to talk to me anymore? If I say the wrong thing, will they think less of me? Will people think that I'm stupid? Should I send money to that cause because people are asking me for money? Do I even have money to send to that cause? All of that claims a piece of us. Food, transportation, retirement, neighbors, bills, health. Honestly, the list could go on, and it all claims a piece of us, right? When any of that is out of balance, when one of those things is out of balance, we're faced with fear, anxiety, depression, feeling tired, wiped out, looking for a ray of sunshine in the clouds, a moment to take a deep breath, and can you really give the energy to volunteer for something when you just feel depleted? I don't know which camp you fall into. I have no idea. What I do know is everybody falls into the camp usually of feeling tired. And maybe you're tired from volunteering. Maybe you're tired from life that you can't imagine volunteering. Maybe it's both. But the good news is that God sees you where you're at. That's what I want you to know. Wherever you are, whatever exhausts you, whatever's making you tired, God sees you where you're at. Okay? You've probably heard this phrase before, that you should put on your own oxygen mask before assisting others. If you haven't heard that before, if you ever fly on a plane, or you ever have flown on a plane, or you ever will fly on a plane, there's these little oxygen masks that fall down if the plane is ever in trouble. So hopefully you never actually see those if you're flying on a plane, okay? Let's pray for that. But usually the flight attendant gives you this little rundown before you fly, and they have fake ones that they drop down, and what they tell you is, hey, if this ever falls down, put on your own oxygen mask before you assist the person next to you, all right? And the hero in us, right, the love your neighbor in us is like, shouldn't I help the other person beside me before I help myself? Right? Isn't that sort of the right thing, the good thing to do is help somebody before I help me? Isn't it selfish to help me before I help somebody else? It feels backwards. Help my neighbor first. But the logic in them telling you, put your own on before you help your neighbor is, are you going to be any good to your neighbor if you pass out from lack of oxygen and then you can't help anybody? Right? So that's the principle. Put on your own oxygen mask first because you can't help anybody if you aren't breathing. Well, the same thing is kind of true in our faith. You can't pour out peace if you're running on fumes. You can't love your neighbor if you're secretly resentful and exhausted. You can't give away what you don't have. And I think one of the best parts about this is that Jesus understood it. Right? I think Jesus understands this principle. In Mark chapter 1, we find this story. I'll just read this. It says this: very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Simon and his companions went to look for him, and when they found him, they exclaimed, "Everyone is looking for you." And I'm going to pause the story right there. Jesus had just healed a whole bunch of people. So kind of like the clip that we just watched from The Chosen, right? So imagine Jesus had been off healing a bunch of people. He comes back, wiped out, right? And he crashes. So then he gets up and he goes off to a solitary place to pray. And let's say the crowd builds back up, a whole new line of people ready to go. They heard about all the great work that Jesus did, right? And so a whole other crowd builds up, which, if you go into the Gospels and read, happens all the time. People hear that Jesus is there, and the crowds gather, right? So here we go. This is what happens. The crowds gather. Where is Jesus? Where is Jesus? And the disciples look around and they're like, oh, the dude disappeared again. So Simon Peter goes off looking for him. There's more needs. There's more expectations. There's more people to help. What does Jesus do? He leaves the crowd. He withdraws to a quiet place. He goes to pray. He puts on the oxygen mask. Even Jesus, the Son of God, didn't try to meet every single need every single day because he protected time with the Father. He stepped away to take a breath. He needed to breathe. And here's the kicker. When the disciples come looking for him with all that urgency, hey, Jesus, everyone's looking for you. Jesus, everyone's looking for you. Jesus doesn't panic. In verse 38, he says this, let us go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else. So he didn't just immediately go and fulfill all the needs that were chasing him down. It's like Jesus saying, I'm not chasing the crowd. I'm going to follow my Father. Whatever he heard in prayer, when he went to the Father, he put the oxygen mask on, whatever he heard in prayer gave him guidance to go somewhere else. So hear me when I say this. Self-care is faithfulness. It is not selfishness. Self-care is faithfulness. It's not selfishness. Get that in our heads because we have to stop burning ourselves out. If you're one of the folks that is doing every single job, you will burn yourself out. You will. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll burn yourself out. Self-care is faithfulness, not selfishness. We can get in the habit, and if I'm totally honest, I've been there. I found myself saying these very things. If you want something done, you got to do it yourself. No one else is going to do it, so I got to do it. Got to fill in the gaps, right? I've been there. I have worked in so many different ministries, small companies, startups, big and small, and I got to tell you, they're always struggling for more and more of something. More volunteers, more programs, more time, more teaching, more something. And here I come, and I might as well have a red cape and a big S on my chest. I got it. I'll do it. I'll stand in, fill in the gap. And let's be honest. In church culture, often we confuse burnout with holiness. Oh, that person will do it. Man, they're amazing. That person will do that job. They're amazing. That person does 10 things. I don't know how they do it. You know how they do it? They run on a battery. It's going to go out. That's how they do it. We applaud people who never stop. We call them servants. We call them selfless. And what we don't realize is the battery is about to go out. So, let's have a little fun. Izzy, can you help me? Izzy's going to walk a plank for me today. She agreed to it, so, she signed a good waiver. All right, so come out to the plank here for me. Don't walk all the way out, just there. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this green egg is our goal. All right, so whatever our goal is for church. So let's say that it is having enough volunteers to do a thing, or let's say that it is a new ministry we want to start, or whatever the goal is that we want to have done in our church, and we have bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Izzy, who's like, I'll do it, I got it, dun, da, da, da. I got my red cape, I got the S, I got this, right? And so you and I, we all know, my goodness, that is so far out there. How could she ever do it? Right? But that's what we do. Go, Izzy. You got this. And so, Izzy, man, get the egg. Come on. You can do it. You got this. Oh. You walked the plank and you fell right off. All right. Get back there. All right. Go. You can go sit down because you failed. You failed. I mean, I don't know why you did. You had all the energy. It's right there. It's hanging. It's right there, Izzy. My goodness. I mean, you said you could do it, and then you didn't. You're young enough. When I was young, I could have done that, right? When you were young, you probably could have just taken a running leap and grabbed that thing, right? We all did it back in the day. It's Izzy's turn to do it now. She's young enough. She's got the energy to do it. So why didn't she just do it? It's her turn. My turn was long ago. It's my turn to not do that stuff now. How many of you have heard that kind of stuff before? Maybe some of you said that kind of stuff. Oh, ouch. What legacy are we leaving for the next generation? Well, let's think about this, church. We don't even have much of a next generation. So when we think about the legacy we leave for the next generation, it better be a darn good legacy. We better be thinking real hard about the kind of care, consideration, and legacy that we are leaving. There is a difference between sacrifice and neglect. There's a difference between sacrifice and self-neglect. There's a difference between obedience and overfunctioning. There is a difference between encouraging somebody to do something and encouraging them in something that you know is impossible. My wife used to be the director of internships for the entire conference of churches. So 40-some churches in our conference, and she was the director of internships for all of them. Do you know what one of the saddest things was in her role? Was how she had to protect interns from pastors who wanted to get interns, hire them on, and just abuse them. Throw them into jobs that no one else wanted, that they couldn't possibly ever actually complete, but they just needed a body to do. Well, that's not the purpose of an intern. That doesn't teach anybody anything. And yet we've got people that want to do that. That's how we look at the next generation. We're a church. If you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of anyone else? If you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of the next generation? How can you teach anyone to get anywhere? Look at Psalm 23. It starts out this way. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, and I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Quiets my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake." And did you catch that second verse? He makes me lie down. Makes me. Sometimes God leads us not to do, but instead to stop. You think about that? Sometimes I don't know when to stop, and I need to be told. Sometimes a good shepherd needs to urge me to stop, and I need to listen. I don't know for my own good. Hebrews chapter 4 says this: "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did from his. Let us, therefore, make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will perish by following their example of disobedience." Make an effort to rest. Make an effort. See, that's how countercultural this is. It takes intentionality to protect the margin in our lives. We have to try. Because if you don't, then life will keep taking from you. without you realizing it, without you knowing it, until the battery is all used up. And when the battery is all used up, you're not any good for yourself, and you're not any good for your neighbor. You got nothing left to give. Jesus didn't apologize for resting. When the disciples found him, he didn't say, I'm so sorry, guys. I was praying. Probably shouldn't have been. I didn't mean to let you guys down or the crowd down. I'm sorry. It doesn't say that at all. Jesus took the time he needed to connect with the Father, to pray. He preserved the margins of time and didn't apologize once for it. Self-care is not selfishness. You need that. Part of what it means to function well and function healthy in a community is being there for one another. Izzy can't do this all by herself. She can't. Not without taking serious risk to herself. She could do it again and again and again, and it's going to get riskier every time. She will get hurt. And what's worse is that Izzy, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Izzy, is going to keep trying to please us. She'll keep trying. And I hope you understand that Izzy's a metaphor. I hope you understand all the Izzy's that came before this one, that keep trying to please, that keep trying to reach that green egg. They can't do it by themselves. They need a community of people that will stand behind them. Now, the lucky thing is that Izzy actually has a community of people that stand behind her. When Izzy's up on this stage, there are actually a community of people that stand behind her. The worship team, right? So I'm going to have the worship team come up because, well, they're going to close their service anyway, so they need to be up there. But they're going to stand behind her. Izzy, can you come up to the front for me? Stop there. And the worship team is going to come up, and they're going to stand behind her.
All right, Izzy, you got this.
Now, my assumption is that the worship team has taken the time to care for themselves because they are willing to come up here. They're willing to stand behind her. They're willing to take care of her, to be there for her. They've put on their oxygen masks, so they are ready to be here for us today, right? And they're ready to be there for her. So now Izzy is able to take a walk. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you can just put it down. The oxygen mask principle works because if you take care of you first, you actually have the ability to take care of your neighbor. You put on your mask, you can take care of the person next to you. If you don't put on your mask, if you don't take care of you, you will burn out. You will burn up. Your battery will go out. And so I'm going to say this right now. Some of you have probably needed to hear from God, you need released to go, I need to let go. I need to be out. I need to be done with the 15 things that I have been trying to do. Okay. Some of you have probably got that message a long time ago. And you've been sitting back and waiting, and what the message you need to hear is, it's time for me to get back in and take care of my neighbor. Because some of my neighbors have been walking the plank, and they can't reach the green egg. I can't tell you which message you need to hear, but what I can tell you is that we need everybody. We need everybody to be listening, everybody to be discerning, everybody to be figuring out what is God telling them. Because we can't function without everybody. We can't. That's not what a community is. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths and vacation. That's not what it is. It's not about checking out. It's about checking in with God, with yourself, on what you need to stay spiritually and emotionally whole. So, here, take a daily quiet time. Learn how to say no. Take a Sabbath. Ask for help. Figure out what you need to let go of. And learn what you need to say yes to. Okay? Because just as important as it is to say no, it is important to say yes. Saying yes can open all kinds of doors, just like saying no. Rest is an act of faith. This is my last slide. And I think for me, this is the most poignant thing that I have learned about rest. Can you trust God enough to rest? Can you? Can you trust that God is going to keep the world spinning without you? Will he? Or does the world spinning depend on you? If you are running on empty, Jesus sees you. He's not disappointed in you. He's urging you to hear him. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Let Jesus restore your soul. You were never meant to live burned out. You were meant to live faithfully whole.
Hi, this is Pastor Nick. Thanks for listening. I hope something that you heard today was very helpful. If you want to connect with us further, feel free to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or our website, canoychurch.org. Sure, I'm glad we're in this together.